these guys kind of know me and know what I do, and there was a whole altercation because one of them came up to me, and the guy came up to me and he said, can we just let the people who are getting upset, let them just go away and then I can carry on. So let me just explain something here. None of you really need to stay here. If you don't like what I'm saying, yeah? I mean, as it happens, that woman didn't know, because she wasn't here at the beginning of the presentation, that I'm role-playing, right? I'm playing a role, right? I've just got a white coat on. Obviously, like, think about it, it's just a white coat, right? It doesn't really mean anything. Although being a doctor doesn't really mean anything either, to be honest, but that's a whole other discussion. But so I'm here doing a role play, and if you get upset with it, yeah, then you need to, like, just go away. It's just a role play. It's just someone's like getting upset with someone on a film set. Why are you doing that for? No, it's just a role play. Okay, so let's keep it going. Anyway, so what I'm saying was that I've been working in the NHS for about 35 years, and I've seen, I've seen all sorts of things in the NHS. She didn't wait for the credentials, that's right. I know. One more, I've got the lab coat on. Exactly, of course. Anyway, so over the years, I just want to tell you that I have seen, over the last 18 months, what I've seen happen in my beloved work is that the government has basically taken over the NHS, right? They kind of usurped the NHS. Now the thing is that they haven't actually taken over the NHS. What they've done is they've acted like they've taken over the NHS, but it's not them that's taken over the NHS. It's actually powers that are beyond our imagination that have taken over the NHS, right? There are forces beyond your imagination that have taken over the NHS, and they're the people who are the financiers. They have taken over the NHS because they own the government, you understand? So basically what's happened is in my work, and I've seen people with cancer, heart disease, mental health conditions. I'm a consultant psychiatrist many years. If anybody wants any drugs, I've got some really good stuff at home. I've picked up over the years. But anyway, anyway, so what I've seen in the last 18 months is basically is a kind of anybody who doesn't completely toe the line with the COVID narrative, yeah, is basically in danger of losing our jobs, and I just couldn't stand it anymore. So I've come out today to expose what's been going on. And the first thing is that at the beginning of this situation, let's call it, I don't want to call it a pandemic because I'm not even sure how it's defined and who defines it and why, but at the beginning of this situation, and over the last 8 to 10 months, the corporations that work for the public relations part of the government, which is basically, all the government is basically a front bunch of actors who have a team of public relations people who basically, control the masses and their minds. So what they've done is that they have made everybody really scared of death, right? By reporting on the numbers of people that have died, yeah, every day. And I'm telling you that I have seen many, many people die. And I want to tell you now, give you hope, and tell you that of the thousands of people, hundreds of people that I have seen die, every single one of them rests in peace, and they've got no more problems anymore, okay? So when you see those statistics on the TV, 500 people have died, 600,000 people have died, just relax and remember that those people themselves, I'm not talking about the people that are left behind, but those people themselves have got no more problems. Unlike this chap here, for example, who's got problems, which is why he's wearing a face nappy wrongly in the middle of broad daylight. The government have usurped the NHS, but they haven't done it. What they've done is they've acted like they've usurped the NHS because they are our front of house. Yeah? They are the front of the theatre. The Parliament is a theatre. But behind them, yeah, in all the buildings around Parliament, are people who are really calling the shots, people who are influencing the people that call the shots. Now, and I can tell you, as a doctor, it's very, very difficult because we can't tell you anything that's not in line with the COVID narrative, right? And if we ever do, you get people like this lady here who's obviously a believer. You're a believer in the whole? Yeah. Obviously a believer in the whole thing. They get very, very upset if you say anything like bad about, for example, if you say things like, is the vaccine really a vaccine? Bearing in mind that the word vaccine comes from the French for cow, which was because I think it was Jenner claimed that he took a maiden who'd been milking a cow, which is basically a form of animal abuse, by the way, who was milking a cow, the cow had cowpox, and somehow the cowpox got into the child, and the child didn't have smallpox, so they created this vaccine from the cowpox, right? And that's how the whole vaccine. But if you, as a doctor, if I was to say in public that actually, is this a vaccine or is it a novel form of medical procedure that creates an autoimmune response inside of you in the form of spike proteins that your body then, after having created this illness inside yourself, your body then supposedly fights and creates antibodies. Although some people that have had the injection don't have any antibodies, which is all a bit strange. Anyway, so I had to leave my job as an NHS consultant psychiatrist, and listen, don't get me wrong. I for many years worked as a psychiatrist. Most of the psychiatrists I worked with needed psychiatrists more than their patients, so I'm not denying that, right? But I had to leave because I couldn't tell any alternative narrative, right? I wasn't allowed to, yeah? For example, when I started telling people about the yellow card reporting system, yeah, my colleagues said, what are you doing? You don't want to put them off. Don't tell them about all the over 1 million adverse reactions. My goodness, I'm trying to get these people vaccinated. I mean, injected. So that's something that was really frowned upon. So I've had to just leave the job and instead to come here and tell you that there is another side to all of this. Now the thing is that don't be, in fact, even if you are thinking about COVID at all, yes, the whole COVID discussion, the whole COVID situation is a massive distraction, right? Because they have been telling you for years that if you stay at home or you wear a mask, you're going to be saving lives, right? And I'm here to tell you, as a doctor, I can tell you categorically that no matter how many masks you wear, no matter how many vaccinations you have, no matter how far you stay away from people, no matter how much hand sanitizer you put on, oh, God almighty. I ain't going to put any of that stuff on. But no matter how much you do, I can guarantee you, you will never save a life. And this is not just an opinion. This can be medically proven. Yes? Because lives are not savable, as far as I know, other than possibly maybe Elon Musk. Maybe he's found some kind of thing that he can, insert into his body, some chip that will make him live forever. Good luck to him, yes? But as far as I know, nobody here is going to be saved. No. What could happen is that you might lengthen somebody's life by wearing one of those things. You might prevent them from getting a particular illness. But the thing is, what you're missing is that the people behind the scenes who control everything, yeah, the super rich, that you don't even know who they are, they're not stupid enough to come in front of the camera like Boris Johnson or Bill Gates, or these people are front of house, so they don't care if people hate them. But the people behind the scenes with all the money, the financiers, yeah, they're financing all of this. And they're financing Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. They're financing all of that. And I can tell you something. If you want to know what those social media platforms are doing to you, there's only one way to find out, and that is to take a solid break from them all. When you take a solid break from them all, you will discover that you have been manipulated by a bunch of extremely dangerous algorithms. The algorithms are programmed to make you addicted to their platform, which means that even if it ends up with you wanting to commit suicide, having watched all those films of sexy women and then going home to your wife.
It's before the water set.
It's before the water set. Am I not allowed to say that? Oh, I thought that was quite mild, actually. Right? You realise that those algorithms are making things that much worse. Those algorithms have led to this woman wearing a blue piece of paper over her mouth. For what reason? Why?
I want to because.
You want to. Right. See, she thinks she wants to, yeah? But she didn't want to do it this time 2 years ago, did she? And there was flu around then as well. No. Why does she want to do it? Anyone? Anybody know why she wants to do it? Because she was told to do it. That's right. How many times was she told to do it? Every day. How many times was she scared about death?
Well, everyone is.
Everyone is. No, but how many times was she deliberately terrorized about death? Every day.
Yellow colours.
Yeah?
Yellow colours.
That's right, the yellow colours, carefully selected by the marketing department of the government who've taken over the National Health Service. So, basically, what's happened is that the government are under instructions from the plurocrats, whatever they're called, or the psycho, what do you call them again?
Psycho, you call them something, the group of psychopaths that are running the show, is it you?
Narcissist? No, not me.
Someone else. Yes, the psychopathic class, right? Yeah, that are running the show, yeah? You have to understand, these psychos are running Facebook and YouTube and all the social media, and I can assure you that they are responsible for the early exit of many, many people, for many reasons. They're also, these people, right, these richest families, the banking, the bankers, the financiers, the royals, these people also own all the other unfathomably dark areas of business. So, for example, as well as owning the social media, they also own the cigarette companies. They also own the alcohol companies. They also own the arms companies. They also own the technology companies. Yeah, and W.H. Smith. Exactly, I know. Exactly. Do I need to say any more? They own W.H. Smith. That's how bad they are, right? They own McDonald's, they own Burger King, they own Whole Foods, just in case someone else wanted to get in on there. No, they own Whole Foods as well, right? They own the supermarkets, which I can assure you are responsible for the early death. Not that that's terrible, because death is always going to be the end of all your problems, which in your case, sir, is going to be a good thing, isn't it? Right? But these supermarkets are responsible for promoting really dangerous products to people that has led to their early demise. And the same people who own shares in all these companies, the same people that are destroying the minds of the overwhelming majority of adults and children with their filthy algorithms, their nasty corporations and platforms, the same people that own YouTube, who are censoring other voices like my own, people who are scared to lose their job, people who, unlike me, were not smart enough to marry into a very rich family. so I can afford not to work for the NHS anymore. But there are a lot of people that can't afford it. And these people are not able to speak out because YouTube is censoring people who talk about anything to do with this situation in a way that is not in line with their weird narrative. And it's really, really quite weird if you think about it carefully. I mean, not even if you think about it carefully. If you give it, so now the only thing you can do about, if you've taken, so for example, I'd say as a doctor, I would say, if you've taken the injection, yeah, the best thing you can do, I would personally, I would literally write a script for this if I was still in the NHS. But what I would recommend you do, and I'm quite happy to write to your company, yeah, if you promise to do this. If you've taken the injection, what I suggest you do is you self-isolate for 14 days, turn off all your social media, and think carefully about what you've done, that's all. And ask yourself, what was I thinking when I actually trusted a man, one of the finest actors in the UK, Boris Johnson, who also happens to, in the last year, introduce legislation that allows people who work for the police, who work for the secret services, to commit crimes, and allows the secret services to use children and vulnerable adults in criminal activities if it's for the sake of the security of the country. Interesting. The same government offering you injections, the same government that have recently made it illegal to embarrass them with a 14-year sentence, when, in my opinion, they're quite as good as embarrassing themselves, aren't they? That same government sounds a little bit like, getting towards the direction of North Korea. Now, don't get me wrong. I know you did. Well, hold on a second. We've got a heckle here. Okay, thank you. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a heckler here today, and his heckle was. Do you want me to repeat it? It's a bit embarrassing, but do you want me to repeat it?
You're an idiot.
I'm an idiot. All right, thank you. Is that the best you can do? All right. Well, thank you very much. It's okay. By the way, just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, you are free to say whatever you like to me. Yes. 25 years as a psychiatrist, I assure you, I have every possible medication in my drawers at home. I'll get over it. I can just have some Valium when I get home if it really upsets me. What you're saying? No, but this is really a chance. You can say anything to me. It's really fine. Just get it all out of your system if you want to. Excuse me, did you just say I'm chatting? No, just kidding. Anyway, so the other thing is, I forgot to tell you, is that yes, basically the financiers are the ones that you need to look for, right? Always follow the money, right? It's the financiers that are doing this, yeah? And it's always the financiers, because nothing happens without the financiers. They finance they finance the tech companies, they finance the porn industry, they finance the cigarette industry, the porn industry, sir. They finance the porn industry, something that you know a lot about, right? Yes. Just kidding. They finance everything, the arms industry, they finance the media, and of course, they finance the government. They finance the government, which means that they are behind it all. And by focusing on the whole narrative of COVID at all, you are off the scent of the people who are really responsible for the early demise of billions of people. Because poverty is the greatest killer of all. And millions of people die of poverty every something or other. Yes, that's not a proper statistic, I could have made one up. But anyway, a lot of people die from poverty, don't they, sir? Yes, you okay? Welcome to the show. You're taking the medication. Anyway. Any questions at this stage? Then all clear.
What's wrong with the medication?
What's wrong with the medication? What's wrong with what medication? What's that? What's wrong with the medication? Oh, what do you mean what's wrong with the injection? Injection. Well, I mean, you see, the thing is that if you are asking the question, what's wrong with the injection, the problem is not the injection, the problem is you. Because why are you asking me what's wrong with the injection? Because I'm a doctor, right? Yeah? But you mustn't trust me. Number one, because I'm just wearing a white coat and I'm not really a doctor. But number two, even if I was a doctor, you shouldn't trust me. Because when I was a doctor, I made money out of vaccinating people, you understand? So that affected the way I thought about it a bit, do you know what I mean? Now, not so much. So you asking the question, what is the problem with the injection, shows that you are not doing your due diligence. You've got a phone, you've got access to the internet, I assume. Yes? You can find out yourself, and you should, before you take such a thing. Have you had the injection? Have you had the injection?
I just want to know more from you.
You want to know more from me? Yes, you're lazy.
No.
Yes, you mustn't know. No, but the problem with you learning more from me is how can you take anything anybody says seriously anymore? The NHS have been compromised and have been usurped by the government. The government are acting. I assure you, Matt Hancock knows even less than I do about virology. I mean, when I say I mean me without the white coat on. Obviously, if I've got the white coat on, then certainly, of course. Right? They're just actors. And they have put this whole thing into place. And they have offered you something, and you haven't looked into it properly. And you need to look into it yourself. You mustn't rely on anybody else at all. What I'm saying is, if you've had the injection, what I prescribe for you, anybody that's had the injection, you go home, turn off all media, all social media, and you sit quietly for 2 weeks and contemplate life itself and what you've done. That's all. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah, sorted. What are you looking at? No, just kidding. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the rest of the pandemic.